Let's go back in time, everybody. 2002-2003 season, which is when this photo was taken. This is when Shaq was still very close to his prime, if not his prime himself. And this is when Kobe was just entering his prime. Uh, Here he is at, how old was Kobe around this time? About 24 years old. A phenom, still rocking number 8. That's when he just cut his fro off back then. So that's when he had, to me, I think his finest overall season as a professional. I know many people think it was the offensive explosion year of 2005, 2006. I mean, I can see the case for that. Personally, I think it was 2002, 2003. He averaged 30 points per game, 6.9 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 2.2 steals. He was doing it on both sides of the court, more so that year. 0.8 blocks. I think he had 14.9 win shares that year, and a 26 player efficiency rating. So he was extremely dominant that year. And this is when he was playing with Shaq. And he put up numbers like that. And shot a respectable 45% from the field. But it was really his long range shooting. He never, again, quite recaptured his long range shooting the way he shot that year. He shot 38% from 3-point line. And at the time, I thought that he would just keep improving and improving in his accuracy. And, I don't know. I don't know what, he still is a great, phenomenal player. But even though the perception is that he's this great outside shooter, he's really sort of streaky. He's average at best when it comes to 3-point shooting. He's not a phenomenal 3-point shooter. He's streaky. But anyway, I digress from the point of this video. This is the Kobe Bryant that many of us think of. When we think of Kobe, we keep thinking of this guy. This version of Kobe Bryant, 81 points in a game, 62 points in 3 quarters. What was it? 4 consecutive 50-point games at the end of 2006-2007 season. The 10 50-point games in 2006-2007 season, which I think is a record all time for any player outside of Will Chamberlain. Even Michael Jordan never had 10 50-point games in one season. The most Michael ever had was 8 in the 86-87 season, when he averaged 37.1 points per game. But this is Kobe Bryant that we all tend to think about when we think of Kobe. But this is the reality now in 2013, nearly 2014, is that we now have a 35-year-old athlete who in basketball years is more like 38, and perhaps even older. I think he's played in, I'm a little bit off, but I may be off, but I think we combine NBA playoff and regular season. I think he's 4th all-time in minutes played, behind guys like Karl Malone, Kareem, perhaps. I remember seeing the list recently. I think he's 4th, and a lot of those other guys are forwards, centers. We're talking about a guard. That's a lot of minutes, man. It's a lot of wear and tear. Historically, in the NBA, forwards and centers play longer than perimeter players. You have your Reggie Millers and your John Stocktons, who have had long careers, uh, but Kobe uh, more than likely will have a lot more wear and tear on his body than a Reggie Miller or John Stockton because of his style of play, particularly when he was younger, and just the demands that his game would have on his body, as far as him being more athletic and using his athleticism a lot more than a guy like Reggie Miller or John Stockton. Um, you know, we don't like to see this happen, but it's inevitable. People can talk about Kobe Bryant and this will of his, and he has an incredible will. That will was what helped him to come back in the time that he did. But no one can beat Father Time. Not even Kobe Bryant. We've seen it time and time again, and then in sports, period. We've seen it. We've seen it happen to Joe Louis. We've seen it happen to Muhammad Ali, very sadly. We've seen it happen to Mike Tyson. It's a slow process. We don't see it when it happens. It's like Angelo Dundee once said, the punch that knocks you out is the punch you don't see. And we don't see it yet until Kobe gets definitively KO. Then we'll see, okay, he's done. He's done. Is he completely done as a player? I can't say that. I can't say that he's completely done. But all the evidence that I'm seeing right now, this is a guy who never really got injured. You know, Coach Bryant, he didn't really have a history of injury, like say Jerry West, who just had a problem of getting injured throughout his career. Kobe is now has a pattern of having multiple injuries. And that is a sign that his body is wearing down. Also, he spent so much time trying to repair and come back for the season from this injury that he probably wasn't able to do his regular routines as far as maintaining his overall body conditioning. And it's starting to have an effect on other areas of his body. You know, you have the knee injury that he suffered very recently, which is going to take him at least 6 weeks to come back. Some individuals like Charles Barkley believe it's going to be a little bit more than that. It's the same type of injury that Yao Ming had toward the end of his career, and he missed, 8 months or something like that. It was a number of months that he missed, and this was the beginning of the end for Yao Ming. This was 2007. I think Yao Ming retired 2010, 2011. I won the last game he played. Anyway, it was toward the beginning of the end of Yao Ming's career, and I can see that Kobe is near the end of his career. Some people talk about whether he's near the end of his prime or his status as a great overall player or one of the premier players. I think Kobe's been out of his prime for at least 5 years now. At least 5 years. I think he's been declining steadily since then. He did have a resurgent offensive year last year, but I still think that the numbers are misleading. He had a very unusually accurate beginning of his career. I mean, he was shooting like 57 season last year. He was shooting like 57%, nearly 60% from the field, leading the league in scoring. He was putting up these really aberration type numbers. And he slowly sort of went down toward the year, but he still ended up respectable numbers. He still ended up shooting, I think, 47.5% for the year, which I believe is the highest he's ever shot. But you know, you can see it. You can just see on defense. If you look at the defensive side of the ball, Kobe Bryant has gone from being perhaps an above average defender in the prime of his career to an average defender who can put it on, put the gears on to play a higher level defense when someone's watching, or he's in a national game and he wants to see, protect his image, to a below average defender, to Kobe's now a horrible defender. And I don't say these things to hate on Kobe Bryant. I'm a truth teller, and that's always been my thing, man. I'm not going to just say things to appease people, or I'm afraid I'm gonna get disliked. If I say this or I say that, I gotta say what I feel. You know what I'm saying? And I think that Kobe Bryant is near the end of his career. I personally think that Kobe's mission right now probably is to, because Kobe was a really individualistic player. He tends to, although he says that he wants to win another championship, realistically he's not going to win a championship with the Lakers anytime soon. I think Kobe Bryant's main goal right now is to pass Michael Jordan in scoring. And I think he'll be satisfied with that. Then you're going to see all these comparisons with Jordan, and of course, me and some other guys might make videos refuting and diffusing all these other comparisons over the years, we've done over the years and whatnot. But I think that's Kobe Bryant's main goal right now, is to pass Michael Jordan in scoring, and become the all-time leading perimeter scorer, if you want to say that, as far as cumulative totals at least. He wants to be the quote-unquote greatest scoring shooting guard of all time, which is something that ESPN is probably going to start saying, if he does indeed pass Michael Jordan, which I think he's about 500 and something points away, maybe 600, I'm not exactly sure. But that's what I think his goal is right now, individually. I don't think that he's ever going to be the same guy. It's not realistic. He's I don't know why people just think that he's different. He's not. I don't think he's going to be the same guy coming back from the Achilles injury. There's been no player who really has come back and played at a high level in the NBA from Achilles injury, except for one that I can think of, and that's Dominique Wilkins. Dominique Wilkins is the lone exception to that. And I think the main reason why Dominique Wilkins was the lone exception to that is because Dominique Wilkins was such an incredibly insane athletic player. And he lost some athleticism, lost some explosiveness, but he still was crazy explosive. He still was very explosive. And he also made changes to his game to compensate for this loss of athleticism. And he still remained a potent scorer for a couple more years. And still was a guy who was an extremely dominant player for probably another 5-6 years. And but Kobe Bryant is too old. Dominique at the time was 32, and he didn't rush back from his injury, if I recall correctly. Kobe Bryant is a much older, physically 34, 35-year-old. He tried to rush back, and look what his body did. His body is telling him something. Could it be that his body's telling him he needs to retire, hang it up? Like I said, I don't know, but his body is telling him something. And what I want to tell you all is, yeah, we may see flashes of, Kobe, the player we once knew, here or there, but on an everyday, consistent basis, he's gone.